What we do here is go back.
Ah yes, Gmod. A 2-decade-old game that sparks joy in those who have played this gem back in the days. From fun TTT rounds with your friends to the random in a SpongeBob role-playing lobby calling you a stupid
Nigga.
It was a place that united us. Elementary school kids and grown men with receding hairlines and 2 mortgages, all coexisting in one dysfunctional digital society. If you look past all the racism and crybabies, you'll actually have a real nice role-playing game experience.
Not.
Most of the servers boast a wide library of fun activities like carrying around boxes at the speed of an 85-year-old but with leper and muscular atrophy. It's basically a warehouse worker simulator, a free Amazon training program for your kids whose parents can't afford college. If that doesn't tickle your fancy, don't worry, they got you covered. There's a wide array of menial tasks that will make you feel like you're an actual contribution to a virtual society rather than a basement dweller with no social life whatsoever, and parents who egg you on to finally get a job and a life. Now, after a hard day of labor, you want to blow off some steam, and what better way to do that than in a casino? Yes, there's gambling in Gmod RP. Most, if not all servers have some sort of gambling mechanic built in. In order to gamble, you have to have money, of course. And let's just hypothetically say that carrying around boxes for hours and thereby giving yourself a frontal lobotomy is not something you'd enjoy. There's still the easy way out.
Just fucking do it!
No, not this easy way out. This easy way out. All RP servers got some sort of mechanic that allows you to spend real-life money on the server. They're trying to hide it under the guise of donations to run the server, which, let's be real, is just PR speak for give me your wallet, peasant. Maybe no one is holding a gun to your head and forcing you to pay, but some servers either hide basic features behind a paywall, or even restrict you from experiencing features explicitly stated in the description. And I wouldn't mind that if we're talking about one-time $3 to $10 donation, but when the service starts charging $6 per month to place props, in a game built around placing props, it's downright laughable. It's like buying a car and then being told the steering wheel and brakes are a subscription-based premium feature, which is by far not the worst deal I've seen. Some other games like GTA or Red Dead Redemption charge up to $500 a month for an apartment. I've even seen a server charging $2,000, real $2,000 for a virtual apartment. Seriously, is your favorite music band Hell & Oates? Cause you're out of touch. You're out of touch. With reality, dog. $2,000. Outright crazy.
Real life money.
Which is funny as you're spending that on a single server. You could have paid real life rent with that money. If all of that was not bad enough already, keep in mind that the owner can take that away from you at any time for no reason at all. And a lot of servers will take certain perks of things away from you if you happen to be inactive for 2 weeks, even if you bought them. League of Legends got some outrageous prices for cosmetics too, but at least you keep those items as long as your account exists. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what, for legal reasons, is only a mere consideration and train of thought rather than factual statements regarding legality law makes those roleplay server microtransactions so scummy. Let's start with something that actually can be somehow justified but is executed very poorly most of times. Server roles and jobs. Taking this Star Wars RP server as an example, we can see that if you want to become a Jedi, you need to pay real life money. But be ready to spend about $15 to $30 for VIP and then the Jedi job itself. I've always wondered what Anakin meant when he said,
I cannot afford to lose you.
Turns out he meant his $50 VIP subscription, which is kind of unfair to hide behind a paywall. I get that people want to make money from servers, but hiding key features behind a paywall sort of defeats the whole purpose of the core concept. It's like saying you can play chess here, but you will only have access to the pawns and have to pay money in order to unlock figures like the queen or bishop. And it is obvious that the people that own the server are just out for the money, as they could have implemented some sort of rule that makes you eligible to apply to Jedi after having X amount of playtime or something like that. Star Wars RP, however, is only one of the many examples. There are plenty of other servers that have the exact same idea of paying money to unlock certain jobs and roles. There are many ways how this could have been set up to create a fun and engaging community, but what is going on here is basically gatekeeping. Of course, like any other game that offers microtransactions, Gmod RP servers let you buy cosmetics. These range from small things like particle effects or changing the color of your fizz gun. Yes, you have to pay for a feature that was originally free. To bigger things like knife skins or props that are locked behind a paywall for regular players. But here's where things get really scummy. Whenever you join a new server, you're required to download a bunch of assets from the Steam Workshop. These asset collections are put together by the server owners and almost always include content made by other people. People who didn't ask for money for their work. Take this knife set as an example. It's used on tons of servers, but none of the server owners actually created it. That doesn't stop them from slapping a price tag on it and making you pay to access something that's already on your hard drive for free. It's like going to a grocery store, grabbing a free sample, and then some random dude intercepts you at checkout, demanding $5 to let you eat it. So not only are they allegedly monetizing add-ons that do not belong to them, but they also force you to download them and restrict your usage, taking up space on your hard drive which you cannot access while playing. And if you think I'm exaggerating, I reached out to some of the actual creators of these add-ons, and their responses were, well, depressing. Creator Ron, are you aware that your assets are being used on these servers?
Yeah, the whole point of making mods is for people to use them.
Are you aware that these servers are charging real money for players to access them?
Yes, nothing I can do about it.
Do you receive any compensation from these servers for the use of your assets?
No.
Do the server owners ask for your permission to use your assets commercially?
No. And that's basic.
I'm fucking dying!
And that's the case for basically every free add-on or mod ever made.
Creator 2.
To begin with, yes, I'm absolutely aware that my assets are being used on other servers. That's pretty much the whole point of the workshop, I'd say. However, the real issue lies in the fact that many people decompile add-ons and re-upload them, which causes the main problems. Finding these assets in obscure content packs makes it very challenging to track them down. In general, I know that some servers offer skins or other perks via VIP subscription systems. However, I can't say for sure if my add-ons are specifically involved. My add-ons were originally created to meet the needs of my own community at the time, Star Wars, which also used a VIP system. The difference is that we offered actual content, not free skins repackaged as paid features, which is sadly common nowadays. The reality is that all of this is quite blurry. And in any case, for all my Star Wars branded assets, I obviously don't hold the rights, so I can't make any claims. Some of my add-ons are simply ports from other games, so I'm not in a legitimate position to demand anything either. No, I don't receive any compensation. Back in 2015, I created a map that was entirely private for my community, and I struck a deal with another community to give them access to the map in exchange for a one-time payment. But that's the only compensation I've ever received. Overall, most of this happens behind the backs of the creators. Yes, broadly speaking, whenever someone wants to modify my work or make changes, they often contact me for my approval, and I always say yes. As for their use on servers, it's less common, but it does happen. However, once again, nothing is mandatory. Since the workshop is public, anyone can use it freely. But it must remain, in my opinion, whether in the context of donations or real content at all, depends on the vision of the server, but actually paying for content that is originally free, that's what poses the most problem, I think.
Since this looked suspiciously close to a scam, allegedly, I also reached out to Steam support with some broader questions about asset theft and gambling in Gmod servers. After some pushing and pressuring, you get it, Steam, pressure, Valve, Steam support.
Young man, kill yourself!
They finally responded.
Oh no. Oh no!
Oh no!
So, according to Steam, this violates their terms of service. And if they catch servers doing it, they'll try to shut them down. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, and for legal reasons, this is just speculation, but wouldn't that make it illegal? And before you say,
Who cares? No one's actually buying this stuff, right? It's almost a 20-year-old game. How big could the profit margins even be?
just shut the fuck up. Let me answer that question with another question. Do you know what whales are? Whales. No, I'm not speaking about the country Wales, but rather about whales. No, not those whales either. No, not quite, but kind of. There we go, whales. People who are obsessed with spending money on the most useless and stupid things ever, hoarding them like EDP hoards cupcakes. Whales aren't a Gmod exclusive phenomenon. They've always been around. Their natural habitat includes any space where there's something to throw money at. You'll find them at anime conventions, blowing their parents' divorce settlement on overpriced figurines that'll inevitably end up in jars for no particular reason at all, and on waifu body pillows that they will crust up. You'll see them in League of Legends, buying everything except basic hygiene products, and of course, in our case, we have Gmod whales. People dropping thousands upon thousands of dollars on server cosmetics and perks, like a masochistic pay pig. Where were those guys during the stock market crash in 1929? Seriously, we could have evaded that tragedy. Look, I'm all for spending money however you want, okay? As long as you can afford it. Speaking of affording things, did you know that subscribing to my channel is free? Free! But not as crazy as the time spent making this video, so please like, comment and share. Subscribe, thank you. Alright, back to the video. But there's a subtle difference between providing goods on the services for people and blatant overcharge. The issue with paying for goods on Gmod servers is that they're pretty much not regulated at all. What I mean with regulation is that buying on server A differs from buying on server B. Whenever you buy something on Steam and add funds to your Steam wallet, you can access those funds and bought goods as long as your account exists or as long as Steam exists. Whenever you buy something on a Gmod server, however, it's like Fight Club. But instead of blowing up buildings, beating up pedestrians, and cultish terrorist attacks, the cool stuff, it's paywalls and power tripping admins. And it's not like only 10 people have spent $10 over the time span of 10 years. There are individuals who have spent between 40 to 70k real life dollars on a single server. Case in point, meet Sir Race-A-Lot. This is Sir Race-A-Lot, who has accumulated about 33 million RC in a very short amount of time. Due to that information, it is safe to assume that he has paid real money to achieve that sum. But how much did he spend?
Math time.
So this is the conversion rate. So with having done the math, 33 million RC times $0.002 equals $67,000. Taking both prices into account. Also, quick shout out to Grom for helping me dig up these numbers and run the calculations. His channel will be linked in the description below. Go say hi from Camry. That rhymes. Damn. Ooh. So in order to achieve 33 million on this server, you have to spend between 4,000 to 70,000 real life dollars. Now, just to put that into perspective, I live in North America, Alaska, and my monthly rent and groceries cost around $3,000. This dude spent over 20 months worth of rent on a single Gmod server. And if that was not bad enough already, think about this.
Back has been so far. Where? In the courts especially, you've seen the judges stopping.
Whatever you buy on a server stays on that server. You could spend thousands of dollars on digital goods and it could all disappear just overnight. Just like your dad after he found out you roleplay online.
Baby, do you roleplay? Baby, do you roleplay? Do you roleplay, baby?
And it can happen for various reasons. Let's take a look. Ways you can lose everything you paid for. And why it's hilarious, we said. So let's say you've gone full Sir Race-A-Lot. Dropped an outrageous amount of cash on your favorite Gmod server and now you're living the virtual high life. But there's the catch. Everything you own can be ripped away from you faster than your dad's love when he found out about your furry RP Discord server. Let's go over how fast you can lose it all. A. The server disappears. Gmod servers are run by third parties, which means if the owner decides to pull the plug, everything you bought is gone. No warning, no refund, just a big gaping hole in your wallet, rendering it as empty as your dating pool. You also have no chance getting your money back as you cannot sell your bought goods, nor can you ask for refunds. No warnings, no refunds. B. You're inactive. Some servers have rules when you want to return your possessions. What does that mean? It means if you don't log in often enough, they can take away the custom job you spent $300 on. Just like that. Poof. Gone. The term inactivity is a very vague and imprecise word to use in this context, as the server can change the rules whenever they want. And you're the loser who just lost their custom job they spent $300 for. Like the loser you are. You loser. The scummy thing to do in this case, besides the obvious, is not making this clear from the get-go. C. Your payment is late. Some servers, like certain GTA 5 RP ones, offer in-game real estate for a small fee of $2,000 a month.
You serious?
You're paying more rent for a fake penthouse than some people do for an actual apartment. And guess what? If you miss a payment or take a break, your virtual penthouse is gone. Okay, imagine this. Spending $2,000 a month at your favorite bar for a reserved table and then skipping a week and finding out they gave it to someone else. Absolutely ridiculous. The owner just feels like it. In the end, you're joining a private server. Even though it is publicly accessible, the owner of said server holds every right to do whatever the fuck he pleases. If he for some reason decides he no longer wants you to have access to the item you have bought, you can't do anything about it. This can happen basically at any time for any reason. So why the fuck would someone spend money on a server like this?
Shiver me timbers. Shiver me timbers.
Shiver me timber.
E. You have already lost your money the moment you donated. The economy on Gmod servers is as real as your Discord kitten is a real girl. Unlike in real life where money usually is backed up by things like gold or bonds, an object that is valuable itself, Gmod economy is basically one big hoax. All fake.
Real or fake?
The things you're buying don't exist and aren't worth anything. Most of them are free on the Steam Workshop, as we've previously established. So the moment you bought in-game currency, your real-life money immediately became worthless. And even if you never spent a single in-game dollar, you already lost it. You can't cash it out like CSGO skins. There's no way to get it back. But you already lost the money, because the transaction itself was the alleged scam.
He just spent all of his money on a single server on Gmod RP.
If you're out here dropping thousands on digital furniture, listen, I have an NFT of a bridge to sell to you. F. Usually when you volunteer or get a job, you expect to get paid for your work, right? You know, like a normal person in a functioning economy. But apparently, inflation has gotten so bad that you now have to pay money just to keep your job. or even get it. Yes, that's right. People are spending real-life cash to get hired, quote unquote, so they can work for free, moderating a bunch of social rejects. Imagine this. You just got home after a full 8-hour shift at your actual job or school. You're exhausted. You just want to relax. So of course, you boot up the good old Gmod and willingly sit down for another 4-hour shift at your fake job to moderate children for free. Ah yes, the American dream. Rah! 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 And for what? A cool title? The ability to ban a 14-year-old for minging? The privilege of being a glorified online janitor? Bro, touch some grass. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I just have Google and common sense, so take this as my personal opinion, not lawfully binding facts. Doesn't paying to work sound like it could fall under some actual labor laws? Like this? Or this? And let's not even get into the Fair Labor Standards Act, FLSA, because oh boy, if someone under 18 is working on these servers, yikes. Good thing these servers aren't registered companies, right? Right? Gee, you're supporting an alleged scam. Alright, let's break this down real quick. Most Gmod servers run on allegedly stolen assets, ripped straight from the Steam workshop. This in itself isn't necessarily an issue, since modding is meant to be open source and community driven, and the whole purpose of the Steam workshop is sharing these assets for modding. However, it does get shady when server owners start charging real money to access those assets without paying the creators nor asking for their approval. So to put it bluntly, every time you buy a VIP role, pay for a restricted item, or donate to a Gmod server, you might as well be handing out cash to some dude who just stole a bunch of free mods, slapped the price tag on them, and called it a day. It's like paying a guy who stole a TV from Best Buy just so you can watch Netflix in his basement. And before someone comments,
"Well, it's just a donation,"
let me remind you.
The ability to shut down all federal funding places.
A donation is when you give money to support something voluntarily. A purchase is when you're required to pay money to access something. Therefore, if you have to pay money to use something that is originally free, you're not donating. You're being scammed. Now, am I calling this a fraud? No, I would never say that. Am I saying this violates Steam's TOS and basically is just piracy with extra steps? Well, Steam's own terms of service explicitly forbids using workshop content for paid services, so you can decide for yourself. Lastly, kids gambling. Alright, let's talk about kids and gambling. Kids, the most vulnerable and easily manipulated demographic that should be protected at all costs. You know who doesn't think that? Gmod server owners. Gambling is already a controversial topic for adults. It's literally designed to be addictive, which is why casinos, sports betting, and even scratch-off tickets are legally restricted to 18+ users only. But somehow, this logic doesn't apply to the online space. You can join basically any Gmod server and you'll find some kind of gambling system. Loot boxes, slot machines. Some servers even have entire in-game casinos you can gamble real money. Now, sometimes gambling makes sense in certain RP themes like Mafia RP or Fallout RP, and gambling itself, even without money, is kind of a gray area when it comes to children. But let me ask you something completely different. Why the fuck is there gambling in Star Wars? What part of the Jedi Code says,
No emotion there is, only uncontrollable urge to hit the jackpots on this virtual slot machine.
Did I miss the episode where Kenobi and Rex strolled into the Separatists' Grand Casino, sat down at a high-stakes baccarat table, and bet their fleet against Count Dooku to buy more ketamine for Yoda?
Yoda I am. Kill the younglings I must. Drive my Honda Civic I will. Get more ketamine!
Or no, wait, let me guess. Palpatine orchestrated an entire galactic war just to seize power, which was not actually done to seize power, but to create a clone so he could breed an entire generation of gambling addicts? Conclusion. The price of pretend. There's not much more to say, but let me say it anyway. Before we wrap up, I want to reiterate that everything in this video is just my personal opinion and should not be taken as legal statements. What have we learned today? In the grand scheme of things, Gmod RP servers have taken what should be a fun, chaotic, community-driven experience and twisted it into a microtransaction-fueled dystopia. What started as a game about creativity and freedom has in many cases become a digital grift, where players are being nickeled and dimed for features that should be free. Overpriced VIP roles? Check. Allegedly stolen assets being resold? Check. Full-grown adults and kids gambling away thousands on virtual casinos? Oh yeah. The inability to fight back against these practices? You already know it. But what about server cost? Yes, server upkeep is a real expense. But there's a fine line between sustainability and greed. When essential features are locked behind paywalls, or when free content from creators is monetized without their consent, it stops being a community and starts looking like a cash grab. Steam's TOS technically forbids a lot of this. Let's be honest, enforcement is questionable at best. That leaves both players and content creators stuck in limbo, watching as their work and wallet gets exploited. At the end of the day, Gmod is still an amazing sandbox with limitless potential. But the way many RP servers operate leaves a bitter taste. If you want to enjoy it, you have two choices. 1. Accept the paywalls and grind. Or 2. Stick to private servers with friends to escape the nonsense. Because let's be real, if you're spending $500 a month for a pretend apartment or in-game rank, in a game where you can literally spawn anything with a console command, maybe, just maybe, it is time to touch some grass. I've been your host, Camerai. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and see you next time. Okay, bye!